All right. Well, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We've got a special little guest on this Friday.
He likes joining every now and then.
He does. I felt so bad because he just wanted to lay out in the sun, but we can't leave him out there alone while we podcast.
I know. We're gonna walk him. We have if we're podcasting in the morning, we usually podcast and then we'll walk. But if we're not podcasting in the morning, we'll
Yes.
walk first.
Yep.
But then we take a longer walk at night when it's not as hot, which is also great.
I love the morning walks, but when we do it on shoot days, it takes so much time because not only are we walking, but then I have to shower, then I have to get dressed, and it really puts us back a good 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. So we exercise later, and I'm really pumped because today, between noon and 3, which I'm actually going to keep my phone on just in case they happen to be here at noon, which I doubt.
What's happening today?
The row machine is getting here.
The row machine. We got it from Amazon, yeah?
We did. We wanted to go to Dick's Sporting Goods, and we looked at every Dick's in the area, and none of them carried the row machine that we wanted. Or was that the dumbbells? For whatever reason, we didn't go and do the pickup.
Machine,
I think it was the row machine, too, because you called and they didn't have any.
They didn't.
But we found one because we wanted to do an upper body workout that's cardio because we're doing a lot of steps. And I've always loved the row machine because I feel like it works your back, your shoulders. It's a full body workout. So we looked around. We found one that's affordable, but not. It's actually kind of cheap. I hope it doesn't break within 6 months. But if it does, it'll at least do its job to get us, in shape and going.
Yeah.
But we've been on this kick because the 2 weeks of driving cross country, getting to the house and traveling, we ate like crap. We drank. So this whole
We had fun.
week, we had a lot of fun. But this whole week, we decided, starting Monday, we're like, let's cleanse. Let's not have any drinks. Let's not have any carbs. And so we've been eating just meat and vegetables, no alcohol. How do you feel after 5 days of essentially keto, of just water, coffee, and
I gotta tell you, I feel amazing, and I really knew that my body needed it because even leading up to the move, there was so much stress that you're kind of like living in this other planet, and you're like, well, I can drink, I can eat, whatever, we're moving. And then, and then we would move, and obviously everything you just said, but I'm feeling just so sharp, so alert. I don't feel as much of a bloat, if you will.
Yeah.
And because we have the grill here, it's been perfect because everything tastes delicious. Like, I don't feel like I'm I don't feel like I'm on a diet per se.
Yeah.
Everything's very tasty. And you've been killing it as Florida Fred with all these recipes.
Well,
How do you
thank you.
feel?
I feel great. That's one of the biggest. It was really funny because even when working on the show or just friends in general would always say like, Freddie, like, my God, I've never seen anyone lose so much weight so fast.
Yeah.
And for me, when I eat carbs and I drink beer together, if I'm on a 2-week, I'm drinking beer at night, I'm eating burgers, pizza, I have this orb that takes over my body. As soon as I do 5 days, it shrinks down. If I do 30 days. And if I do 60, I get extremely thin. But I also fluctuate up as soon as I go back to that in like 3 or 4 weeks. So I think even closing out the year, even though beer is refreshing, that was the one thing I was looking forward to. When you drive 7 hours or 8 hours in a day, it's kind of hard to get a dopamine hit of wanting just a piece of grilled chicken. Like, you want a Big Mac and fry halfway through. And then when you get there and put your stuff down, you want an ice cold beer.
It was nice.
So it was kind of like what we did. But here it's great to make the sacrifice because I'm cooking us tons of meat and vegetables. So I'm able to consume a lot of food, but only 500 calories.
Yep.
So we've been making these Philly cheesesteak. I did mushrooms, onions, but we just don't use any of the bread. And then chicken, salmon, just alternating it. And there's even, I still think I'm being punked. We ordered honey mustard dipping sauce. There was only 5 calories per serving, which is like a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon. And the whole entire thing, which is probably as big as this can of LaCroix I'm drinking, or bubbly, whatever, $240 in the entire thing. And that's going to last us for months.
Yeah.
So you can get this little bit of honey mustard taste, but it's not bad for you. So I don't know. I just feel lighter. This is day 5. So we're kind of deciding, do we want to bring it to 2 weeks, or do we just want to do, hey, on Saturdays, because we have this house, like, there's nothing like putting your feet in the pool, having an actual burger with a bun and a cold beer. So we might just do maybe like Saturdays where we'll have carbs and we'll have alcohol.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the time, we'll do keto.
You're strict on it.
So
it's always everything in moderation. And I think the biggest thing for us right now is that we weren't really exercising much because there was nowhere to go in California. Here we have all of this space. We're walking nonstop. I went for a run the other day. We're getting a rowing machine. So I think moderation, just having that balanced lifestyle.
yeah.
You can have both.
Yeah, my mind always goes to a strict schedule.
Always.
But
You're crazy. I love it.
But I like it because it almost seems like this is what I'm doing now. Like when I get into a routine,
I
it goes,
know.
this is what I'm doing. So I'm super picky. And but I just want to end the year strong. And when we looked up the rowing machine, I just for the heck of it looked up local rowing companies.
Yes.
And because I've been wanting to go kayaking and all this, but when you go on a kayaking tour here in Florida, they keep showing pictures of happy families. They're in hats, they're in vests, and then they keep showing like photos of alligators. And I go, that kind of ruins the promotion. I like the transparency, but kayaking, I think, might be in different places, but rowing, like actual rowing, there's a company in Orlando that seems pretty affordable. And I was talking to you about this. We haven't explored it too much yet, but what if we get in shape a little bit with the rowing machine for a month, then go get trained for, I think it's a day or two. And then you and I can get a membership at this rowing company where we get into an actual row boat, not like a rowboat that's in like a cute love story like Notebook, but what do you call it? Like actual rowing competitions.
Yeah.
Those kind of boats, the professional rowing.
Well, and we would be a team.
We would be a team, and they even have competition. So if you and I started to get addicted to it, we might do it twice and say, this sucks.
F this.
But if we fall in love with it, I love that we can even look at the local tournaments and we
Yeah.
could enter tournaments all around Florida and be a rowing duo and compete in
And
races.
social distance while we're competing.
That would make
You
us
know?
that would make us move faster. Frank's coughing.
He's coming.
Babe,
Come on.
go.
Whenever I think of rowing, I think of The Social Network, the Van Winkle twins.
Yeah.
They have this big scene, and there's always this song that they're rowing.
Oh yeah, and yeah. That was such a great film.
So good. We
Such
should
an
rewatch
interesting-
that.
Yeah, I actually did rewatch part of it not too long ago, but just watching what Mark Zuckerberg created and just, oh my God, it's just incredible. It's incredible.
All because a girl. It was all for a girl.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe that was the movie.
Do you know it started out? They were rating girls if they were like hot or not on the website.
yeah.
That's how it started. That would not fly today.
No, secretly maybe. No, it just shows how far everything has come. But yeah, they who knew they would create something this magnificent that would touch the world? You know.
Truly changed the entire world.
Yeah, it's just all part of our life now. So, but yeah, that's really interesting.
So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
on the
we're going to keep
rowing.
learning about the rowing. We're going to start with the machine, and we just want to work out more because even in this house, you walk further. You walk up and down
yeah.
stairs like just natural steps other than an apartment. You move more. We're walking more, so we're burning a ton of calories. And I just love being outdoors, and I'm really missing that competitive nature because I wanted to do softball. I wanted to do kickball's more just fun, but softball I could really get behind, or a bowling league. And even though those are two things I love, I never wanted to put in because I felt like, especially with softball, there's just too many ways to get hurt. And working on the show or just in general, I just don't want to be injured. But now that we're out here, maybe I will join a softball league once I can get in better shape and heal up some of my consistent injuries. But the rowing, I feel, is just perfect, and I love the competitive aspect. I like having a goal. I like knowing who's the fastest, who's the best, and then try to compete.
Well, you and I are both extremely competitive individuals, and the
Yes.
fact that we could team up and partner on it is so fun. And we could be
Yeah.
called Team Fast.
Oh, yeah. Freddie Alyssa Smith Tabbitt.
Yep.
Our initials spell fast if they're rearranged.
Yeah!
We'll have to see if that was just a dream or if we really are fast. So yeah, we're going to look into that. We had a day off yesterday of work, but we decided to do a home tour
Yes.
of our Airbnb. So after our intro here, we'll talk a little about that and give you a few little inside or a sneak peek of some of the shots. But I think the whole video, the vlog, will be ready on Sunday.
Great.
We have a few more shots and edits that we have to do, but the full length one we're putting out on Sunday if everything goes according to plan. But after our intro here, we'll show you a little sneak peek for those of you who are watching. And if you're listening, you can just close your eyes and imagine as we are talking about this. But let's hop into today's episode. Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, like and follow. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes, hello. If you want to give a 5-star review, that would be absolutely amazing. We've been putting up content now for 3 years, and we are having an absolute blast, and we want to thank you all for coming on this journey with us. It's been a blast. Before we get into our sponsor today, who I'm just over the moon excited about,
So
I want to give a
excited.
shout out to some new producers, some new members, and not to overplug the membership program, I did maybe yesterday do a little short version of the home tour. So if you can't wait till Sunday for the free
buddy.
big one and you want a smaller, in-depth one, we did put it on there. We have a tour of our old apartment. We have all this extra content. So if you want to become a member, you can learn about that below in the description. You can click the join button on YouTube or support now on Facebook. They're identical. It just depends on what platform you're comfortable with. And we go live at the last Sunday of every single month. You have some free extra content in there. And the contribution is $10 a month. And we look at it as an ongoing crowd fund so that you and I and the audience can all work together to produce content together without seeking outside investors, where it gets... I like how we're the cooks in the kitchen, and the audience, we read the comments, and we're all cooking together. So
That's right.
if that's an avenue that you want to explore, the links in below, and you can learn about it. But I want to give a shout out because this is one of the perks. You get a shout out on the show. Rebecca Adair, Megan Elizabeth, Canned Will. I think that's the username. Or maybe that's a really cool first name. Elizabeth Ledesma, Ledesma. How would you pronounce that?
Spell it one more time.
Ledesma.
Ledesma?
Ledesma is probably way better than what I was trying to say. Elizabeth Ledesma and Laura Brooke Smith. Laura Brooke Smith. I wonder if Laura Brooke is her name, like you're going to do with Alyssa Tabbitt Smith when we're married.
That's right.
Let us know, Laura.
Let us
Is
know.
Laura
Welcome
Brooke, or
to
is
the
that- yeah.
family.
Well, welcome to the family. You can learn more about all that stuff below. But let's hop into our sponsor today.
Please.
Every now and then, a company comes along that just blends so perfectly with you and I, and blends with our audience. I know all of you are going to love this. I can truly say it. I know you're going to love this. Have you heard of the company called Blinkist? This is the most useful app I have on my phone right now. You're able to read. How many options? There's thousands. Thousands of nonfiction books, and they take the best key takeaways and the most need-to-know information in these books and condense it into 15 minutes.
Boom.
So if you're busy, if you're traveling, if you're a passenger in the car, if you're just, instead of scrolling through Facebook or whatever, take the 15 minutes, find a great book, and you can consume the best key points in 15 minutes, the need to know information. And it's wonderful because I think that's the biggest thing when we talk about personal development. People say, I got to read. We always tell people, read 10 pages a day. 10 to 15 pages, 10 minutes a day, get your mindset right. They have so many personal development books too. So take the 15 minutes. You can read so many books right on your cell phone, which is great. And for me, I've been putting this off, but I've been wanting to read Irresistible.
Yes.
Because I promote social media constantly. I love social media, but I'm aware of the addictiveness to it. I'm aware of the downfalls, and Irresistible, I can't wait to actually read that book. And I know you have one. What's your first one?
Yes, Rachel Hollis, Girl Wash Your Face. I mean, literally for years, I've been dying. I have this huge list, and you know me, I'm an avid reader. It's just, you don't always have the time, right? But I do have 15 minutes, so I'm definitely going to check that out. And with Blinkist, you can get unlimited access to read or listen to a massive library of condensed nonfiction books, all the books you want, and all for one low price. And right now, for a limited time, Blinkist has a special offer just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/Freddie Alyssa. Try it for free for 7 days and save 25% off your new subscription. That's Blinkist, spelled BLINKIST, Blinkist.com/Freddie Alyssa to start your free 7-day trial, and you'll save 25% off, but only when y'all sign up at Blinkist.com/Freddie Alyssa.
Yes, I love that. Thank you, Blinkist, for the 7-day free trial. I love that because we can go check this out. Everyone who's listening or watching, download it, check it out for 7 days, 25% off if you go with this subscription. But I know you're going to love it. It's great to read. It really helps. Alyssa and I have talked about reading since 2014. I know you've read maybe more than me, but it changed my life when I picked up my first book. And just getting that positive
just mindset fuel every
inside
day.
Every single day for 10 to 15 minutes sets your day in a great way. So check it out. Thank you, Blinkist. Welcome to the family.
Welcome.
We couldn't be happier with the partnership. So we appreciate you so much. Now, babe, let's hop into our episode today.
Let's hop in.
We have so many directions to go. This was one of those episodes where we had to write down a bunch of stuff. And we go, what are we going to cover? Because there's just so much to cover. So I want to actually...
Oh, no. He's going to read it.
I'm not going to read it, but I'm just going to look and see where we want to start.
Where we should start.
So the number one thing I think we should start with is what we have done when it comes to looking around for a place. Because I was talking with my mom this morning. I've been talking to my mom so much more. It's my dad's 65th birthday today.
Happy birthday, Fred. We all love you.
Big Fred, 65, officially a senior citizen. They have this program at the gym where when you're 65 years old, they call it the Silver Sneakers. And I think it's free. So as soon as you're 65, you get to go work out.
Does he get a free membership now?
I think he does, yeah.
Silver Sneakers.
But I don't think they've opened up the gym yet in their hometown, which is I guess a good thing depending on what the cases are. But yeah, he's 65 now, and me and my mom were talking earlier, and she was like, "Hey," she goes, "Are you looking around for places? Because you only have this Airbnb till November 30th."
Yeah.
And I said, "We are looking around. We just needed to know the location. You know, this isn't like Los Angeles where if you and I were going to rent, we know Los Angeles so well, down to the streets. So you're able to look around. So we wanted to know the streets and the areas. What's been your experience? We haven't been able to see too many places, but the places we have seen, what do you think of them so far?
Well, it's interesting because obviously I'm from South Florida, but I do have a lot of friends who have lived in this area. So we had a lot of referrals. You know, we asked, hey, what are good spots? And we heard Winter Park, we heard Windermere, we heard Winter Garden. And so, you know, here we are. I feel like we took it in a couple days, that each day we're like, oh, let's go check out this place. But we're kind of going to each area a little blindly. You know, imagine if someone's like, oh, Studio City's great, but they just drive down Riverside. You don't get the full, you don't know. So for us, we tried to do some research, and I am obsessed with Winter Park. If you guys were following my stories, I kind of showed some of the town. It's just really cool, and you almost don't feel like you're in the United States for certain parts. It's really like this old world charm, like those brick roads.
Most of that neighborhood is all brick roads.
Yeah, and you even mentioned, you're like, I feel like these are literally from
100 years ago.
Yeah, and it's just so cool. I just love it. They have a really quaint, adorable, charming downtown strip. Winter Garden also ended up being really cool because
Winter Garden's big.
Big.
From what the map shows, I don't know, but I'm saying if I go to Truly or Zillow or one of these things and look, the Winter Garden looks huge, but Winter Garden feels like Florida to me. Winter Park feels like the Midwest, even though it's still Florida.
Really?
There's no palm trees. It's just all very...
You're all about the palm trees. Everywhere we go, you're like, where are the palm trees? I need the palm trees. But we're in Central Florida, not South Florida.
All I know is if you took somebody who's never been to... If you took out the weather and you dropped somebody in the middle of Winter Park and they had no idea where they were and there's no street signs, I would be surprised if people guessed it was Florida.
Huh.
So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but there's something about the palm trees and like the grass and it's just beautiful. Like there was more trees.
You really like that landscaped, big, large, open area, greenery, palm trees. And in South Florida.
And communities. I
you
love the big sign and you go into a community.
Yes.
So when we walk the dog, you're just seeing all these houses. You're not on a busy street. Winter Park is a community, but it just seems like Midwest to me, which is fine.
Yeah.
But when I feel like I want Florida,
Well, and what's interesting with where we're at right now in this area, it is that Florida vibe, that Florida feel. It's 13 minutes from Disney, so you're definitely in the tourist area, which I believe that's why this community is really popular with the bigger houses, because people will come here and vacation as a family to go 10 minutes away to Disney. So you definitely get that Florida vibe here. And then we went to Windermere, which was this stunning, like, secret gem of a lake town. But I feel it's a lot of old money. I mean, it's definitely a pricey area
we've ruled out Windermere.
At
not
least
ruled it
not
out.
ruled out, but we just, unless we find a great deal, but I can only assume it's real pricey.
The ones that we looked at, because we're basically trying to figure out what to spend. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's really tough, is that, we want to save money to reinvest. So it's every single dollar we spend over what we would need in my opinion, is a waste at this moment.
Yeah.
Because we're also renting another year, not to live in a lavish place. It's to save money so that in a year we know where to buy and invest that into the house, or invest it back into our business. I saw this really great quote that I put on my Instagram, which was essentially, I'll paraphrase it, but if your net worth is under 100K, you should focus on saving on your monthly bills more than investing. And they gave the example that if you save $300 a month on rent, just live in a place $300 less, that's $3,600 of savings for the year that you get to keep. That's equivalent to investing $50,000 cash on a 7% return is $3,500. So essentially the same.
Right.
So when you start looking at that, it's that makes a huge deal, because when you and I go, well, if we're going to work with a sponsor, we're going to work with a brand, you're going to be paid a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
I go, wow, if we save $300 instead of a $2,200 place, you do a $1,900. Instead of a $1,900, you do a $1,600, or wherever it may be.
It's all lifestyle.
Yeah. So, but I keep thinking of, what do you save for the year? Because if you do that, if you pay off a credit card, if you do your rent cheaper, if you don't eat out, there are ways that you can save $600-700 a month, and that equals $9,000 at the end of the year. And us in general, I know I'm on another money tangent, but we're just in this money vibe right here. We'll get back to Winter Park. It is insane, the cost of living, how much cheaper it is here. And I was looking yesterday because I was just curious. I just love running my own numbers, because we've talked about this on almost every podcast. People are like, we get it, Freddie, you love numbers. I know, but this is fascinating, because I've never looked at a place like Florida or Ohio. Many people who are listening, maybe you've lived in a more reasonable, like 95% of America, reasonable town where you work a job you love, you have a house you love, and it's just normal.
Yeah.
When we only knew childhood of 18 years where mom and dad pays for everything, and then you move out to Los Angeles and you're in the most expensive place, in the most expensive state income tax place, and we're unaware of how incredible it is to live somewhere else where it's so much cheaper. And I started breaking down those numbers, looking at just the savings in general of state taxes is insane. If you make $100,000 in Los Angeles, you're going to pay $6,500 in state income tax for the luxury of being in California. If you make $100,000 in Florida, there is no state income tax. So if you're going to build a YouTube and podcast and whatever you're going to do in California, it's $6,500 more, which is about $500 a month. So just by living in Florida, you're saving $500 a month on state taxes alone, on an arbitrary number like $100,000.
Right.
When you start getting into the acting business, I was like, hypothetically, what am I really paying? What is really the difference? If Days were to call and say, hey, we got picked up by NBC or Peacock for 10 years. We're guaranteeing you a 10-year contract. Here's what the thing's going to be. And I started going through all these numbers. And I was like, well, what would it really be? If we were going to buy a house there, just like you want to buy one here, what would be the price of the cost of living? This is insane. The cost of living for a 3-bed, 2-bath home in California, not in Beverly Hills, not in Studio City, not in West Hollywood, not by the Sunset Strip, not in these expensive places. Just like an average, like Burbank, Encino, Sherman Oaks is like the Valley, affordable. A 3-bed, 2-bath house is about $800,000 to $900,000 for a 3-bed, 2-bath house. That's 1,200 square feet.
And that isn't even renovated or new.
No.
Just an older
place. Here, in a nicer area, maybe we'll say equivalent to Burbank or a little bit nicer, $300 to $325 for a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot. If you put down 20% here, that's $60,000. You'd have to put about 7 or 8% down on your Burbank home to put $60,000 down. So $60,000 out the door for both homes. Here, you're going to pay around $1,500 a month for interest, property taxes, home insurance, the principal, all of that. $1,500 a month. On that home's $4,200 a month. And you have this weight, this cloud that hangs above you that goes, hey, Freddie, you feeling good? Guess what? The house you own, you've only paid $68,000 off. You owe $700,000. You're in debt to the bank for $700,000 for the next 30 years. Enjoy that, buddy. Here, you put $60,000 down on a $300,000 home. Hey, Freddie. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, hey, how's it going? You don't seem that dark. Well, I'm only $240,000. That's it. And you get the same exact thing. Gas prices, no income tax. The long-winded thing here is hypothetically just throwing a random number out there. $300,000 a year in LA and $100,000 a year in Florida, at the end of the day, isn't that much different when you factor in cost of living, when you factor in state income tax, when you factor everything in. It's less, but not that much less.
Were you on the math team in high school?
I was the captain. I just find that fascinating. I think it's important to know. It is. Because if you're going to pay high income tax, state income tax, what I've read, because I did research on that, is I could not work full time on days or another project if it was full time in LA. Yeah. You have to pay that luxury state tax to have the awesome weather, no bugs, access to the beach and mountains, all that beautiful stuff in California, and access to opportunity. Because that's why people pay the state tax. Yeah. Because if I wanted to, say, work on days or work on another show there, well, then you have to pay the $20,000 a year in state tax. Sure. Because if you don't live there, then you don't get to make the big money. Right. So there's the trade-off. I understand all that. Yeah. But when it comes to really breaking it down number-wise, to me, it's just fascinating to look at what it really is. Yeah. And just the tax in general. It's just absolutely insane. So with all that being said, we're just in a position where we're looking, what do we spend on renting? What do we spend on buying? And where is our business going to be? That's the one thing we don't know. What's the business going to be? This
it's going to be crushing, baby.
It's going to be crushing.
Manifest
we have very,
that, baby.
very high hopes. I'm just speaking more humbly, babe. But since you brought up the non-humble side, yes. In 2-3 years, we're going to be one of the biggest podcasts in the world. Ooh, so I was going to have some humble pie, and you threw it on the floor. So now people are going to get what
Pick
we
it
really,
up. Go
truly,
eat it. Go eat the
truly
humble
want
pie.
to do. Veggie, no. No, it's chocolate.
No.
Yeah. So
there is no pie.
But the whole entire thing, to wrap this up, and we'll get back to the winter park, is I have never been so sure about anything in my life than understanding money, not living outside of your means, and I want stress-free. I would much rather ride a bicycle than to have a huge overhead of a vehicle. I know that's extreme.
Very extreme.
But my whole point is that
there's weather in Florida.
Yeah, but you can't spend what if you make $6,000, you should not be spending $6,000.
Agreed.
Why not spend $2,000? Yeah. Because having all those savings and all those investments is ease. Yeah. To look in your savings, to look at your investments, to look at your incomes coming in and go, we're good. Then you get to do what you want every day. Yep. So many people, including myself, were doing things that I got to do this. Yeah. Because I worked up an overhead. Yep. And I never wanted to do that. When I get a call, when I get an audition, I don't want to say like, I got to go do this, even though I don't want to do the part. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Well,
want to
that's
go
a lot of
fly to
people's
Canada for 6 weeks to do this movie because I need this money.
Yeah, a lot of people's careers have changed because they needed the paycheck. They didn't get to pick the roles they want. They're like, well, this keeps paying, this keeps paying, this keeps paying. I have an overhead. It happens to so many people. They're still working actors, which is great, but then you look at some really big A-listers and they get to be selective with what they want to do.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing with California. Is California is a place that it is amazing. If we all of a sudden looked under that couch and there was 10 million cash, I would consider California again, because you can go and get a $3 million house. There's no bugs. It's beautiful. You have the neighborhood you want. You don't care about the taxes. Your overhead's low if you pay the house in
But
cash.
it's far from family.
But it is far from family.
that's the
But
big
yet again,
downside.
my dad even said that's the reason they didn't come out, is we never had a place for people to stay.
Yeah.
When they come out, they got to do the hotel.
I
It's
know.
expensive. If we had a house like that, family could come,
True.
stay for free. They pay their flights. That's
Still
nothing.
a long flight and very taxing.
But they stay
on the
for a week
bod.
or two. We're not in each other's space.
Yeah.
So California, it just seems like if we're ever going to ever reconsider like living there, which I don't think we would, having a lot of money makes California, and I'm sure New York and all these places, it's when you're in that
cake.
middle class, upper middle maybe, I don't know what that would all be. It's the hardest because you're just paying the most taxes, but you have the most at stake, and you're in between this is really nice but not, and you're just struggling, you know, and it's in the middle class there, it's 100,000 you can't survive in California.
Just barely.
Like 250 is equivalent to probably 60,000 everywhere else in the United States. So to think about, well, how do you maintain $500,000 a year? You got to really own a business or be an A-list primetime actor. Because even with days, like, you can't get up to 500,000 a year there. So it's just that whole thing. So my whole, and I know for me, there's maybe a lot of artists too that are just like, this is crazy. Like, I just like acting. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But this is how I internalize everything.
Yeah.
I look at things at what I like, but the business side of me and the money side of me is always juggling.
Yeah.
Where I look at that as well. I like convenient type of living. You know, if I can create a life for myself where I can wake up at 8:30 every day,
Yeah.
I like that.
Of course.
So
So back to Winter Park.
the brick roads. The brick roads remind me of a. I think everybody's probably has to go grab a glass of water. Honey, get the credit card bills. I think we need to pay these off and move.
Some people did mention on one of the past podcasts when we were talking about a lot of money, finances, Dave Ramsey, and that's someone that you love. What do you call him? Uncle Dave, or is
Uncle
that
Dave.
Yeah.
Uncle Dave Ramsey in Pasadena. I put his YouTube channel on, and I listened to his clip after clip after clip. I have listened to Dave Ramsey. If I would have known him 5, 6, 10 years ago, my whole life would have changed. Dave Ramsey is amazing. If you're having financial, I'm not an expert at all. I'm learning.
Sure.
Dave Ramsey, free on YouTube. If you have financial stress, go check him out. He'll give you some insight. But I love balancing Uncle Dave with Uncle Grant with Cousin Graham.
Oh, yeah.
Grant Cardone is probably almost worth $1 billion by now, owning apartment buildings, he invests in real estate. And he's a very over-the-top, like, alpha male, A-type personality. Like, you either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
But I love him because he talks against the Dave Ramsey theory. He hates paying off the house. He hates owning a house. He goes, I only own things that I rent out. He goes, he rents where he lives, he owns where he invests. So I like hearing how he looks at money.
Conflicting sides, yeah.
And and then I love Dave Ramsey, who's more on the practical side.
So why does Grant Cardone not like buying? Because even where that's his main thing, where he lives, he always wants to rent. Why is that?
Because if you have your money tied up, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's a terrible thing, even for you and I, to buy a $300,000 house in cash. That is only going to appreciate each year, if you're lucky, by like 2%. on your money, and then you're also having to upkeep it. You have to pay to keep it all up, so you're really not making money. If you invest your 300 grand into real estate or something like him, he's getting a 7 to 12% return on that money. So it's a waste of money. And if you own a place, if you and I went and bought a duplex, you're going to get that right now for about 2.97% on a 30-year mortgage. So you're paying very little interest into that. So you can rent that out, make the money back. So he goes in the whole real estate aspect of it.
He's speaking on the end of if you're in the real estate business, but for the average American following a Dave Ramsey, have your house, pay it off, have security, lower your bills, your overhead.
But that's the main goal. That right there is the ding 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 number one answer. If you are a risk taker and you want to, like Grant makes a good point, getting a credit card with 23% interest is terrible debt.
Yeah.
Getting a duplex and getting only 2.9% interest on that debt is great debt, because you're going to rent those out and you're going to have cash flow.
Cash flow, baby.
That's what he says, cash flow.
Like
Stay calm and cash flow. But yeah, the whole cash flow thing. But with Dave, I think that's more relatable in the sense that people aren't, like most people aren't taking high risks or entrepreneurs in that sense, that the Dave Ramsey of, like, if you're working a career, that you have a retirement plan, 401k, invest in the house, it's solid.
Right.
So I don't buy into Grant. I don't buy into Uncle Dave or Uncle Grant. I like listening to both and seeing where I fit.
What works for you?
What works. Because I like a little savings because of what happened with the money being stolen. I like having security and less stress. So sometimes I don't need to make the best investment as long as it's making me feel at ease and it's smart. And then we have cousin Graham, who's 30. And he is kind of in between Uncle Grant and Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
So by the trifecta of those three, listening to all of their different points, I'm able to learn and hear, why does someone like 401ks? Why does someone not? Why does somebody like taking on debt? Why is it a 15-year mortgage, not a 30-year mortgage?
And then cousin Graham is a YouTuber, correct? What's his last name?
Stefan.
That's what I thought.
Yep. He's the reason that we went all in on YouTube.
Yeah.
14 months ago.
Yeah.
He did a video on how much money he was making. I go, wait a minute, what? And I bought his course.
Babe, YouTube.
Yeah, July of 2019, I bought his course for $200.
That's right.
I watched it and I go, oh, I get it.
Yep.
I get the long-term vision.
Yep.
And
how much is he making now? Isn't he?
Between his real estate and everything, he brings in about, well, just on YouTube, he probably makes about $2 million a year.
Dang.
Just on YouTube.
And he's a real estate agent too, correct?
Yeah, but he's moving to Vegas and doing YouTube full time now.
I mean, who wouldn't?
He's up to 2.4 million subs. He's trending all the time. He's really blowing up.
Good for him.
But he's
great.
He's great. He knows what he's doing, and but that's all we do. We just follow great people. When I was learning to be an actor, I followed great people.
Yep.
When we were learning to do different business or speaking or sales or marketing, you just look at the best people. Personal development books. How are these people happy and successful?
Yeah.
How do they have a great family? How are they the best dads?
Yep.
How are they the best moms? There's books.
Yep.
There are professionals who spend their life to put the best in a book. And then we just follow. So when we got into YouTube and podcasting, I follow the podcasters. Mm-hmm. I looked at Your Mom's House. That's a podcast.
I know.
And they're doing this virtual event. And I go, this is new.
Yeah.
So I'm always watching going, why are they doing this?
Even too, when I started my blog, I followed huge bloggers who had been doing it for 10 years plus. And I was like, ooh, I like how they do that. Or why do they do this? Or this is how they link up, their outfits. You watch, you follow, you pick things that you like from different people and you make it your own. If you always if you want what someone has, follow them closely.
Yeah.
That's it. They have a system that works, clearly. So just do what they're doing.
Because you're almost like an intern. And it's like an apprentice program where you just watch what they do. Gary Vee says that. He goes, watch what I do, not what I say.
It's huge.
And you just watch him. And he did the whole, text message service. He did the whole, you just watch what he does and then you just copy it.
Yep.
Because he is doing something right. You're watching what they're doing. And it's just a great thing. So whatever field you're in, if you want to be better, if you want to get better, who's better?
Yep.
And just follow them closely.
Yep.
And just and don't just copy, because I think that's where we get in trouble, where people just buy in. that's why I buy into Uncle Grant, Uncle Dave, and Cousin Graham, but I buy into them as a trifecta.
Yep.
I don't just go, whatever you say, Grant, here's all my money in real estate. We're in duplexes now. No. I understand it. I'm going to do it in the future.
Right.
Now's not the time. Dave Ramsey's method right now is the time for us because
right.
of where we're at.
Yep.
Then we're going to move into more of a Grant thing, but then I'm also using the tactics and the life hacks of Cousin Graham with other things.
Yep.
So I don't ever just buy into one thing, ever.
No.
I'm very much just respect you. There's a lot I don't like, but there's a few things I like. Or on all these people, I love everything.
Yep.
But I just take what I think I need.
You should constantly be feeding your mind. If you go to sleep every night without learning one new thing, what a waste. Because every day you're fueling that brain. Like, okay, how am I going to make my life better?
Exactly.
Evolve and continue. So love it. And I love you watch all of their stuff. I let you handle all that.
We just happen to be interested in different things,
I know.
which makes our family stronger.
Yeah.
Because you have your expertise, I have mine, and we bring them together, but we're not interested. Like, you don't listen to any of my podcasts I listen to. You don't watch anything. I was chasing you around the house yesterday going like, babe, I got to tell you something. And the look in her face is, and the only reason I talk about the whole money thing is because I've seen the comments that people actually, our audience enjoys the money conversation. So I'm like, oh wow, this is perfect because I like really love that.
Yeah.
But when I go to you and I'm just like, hey babe, and you're like, yeah, I was like, I want you to imagine something, and you're just like, okay, just zero interest. But that's why I handle all that stuff, and it's like, it's really great.
It's great.
And
it's very, very
I just think that's just, as of right now, it's what makes the world go round. I think money's going to make the world go round for a very long time.
Forever,
and it's important to know how to live in this world and how to capitalize on the opportunity and the conveniences by earning money and knowing the right thing to do with money. Because clocking in and clocking out to have things without investment or trying to create some sort of passive income is just like, now it just all like makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, low overhead.
Speaking of money and different forms of currency, did you ask your mom today about those Pokemon cards?
I did. She hurt her back getting him down from the attic.
No.
She's like, if it still hurts in 3 days, I have to go to the chiropractor.
Oh my God.
But she's just going to take pictures. She's going to try to mail it to me.
But taking pictures is good, so you
Yeah.
can see what you got.
Huh?
So you can. I don't know why that came out so weird. I'm so hungry.
Well, we'll save the Pokemon conversation for another time.
Okay.
And we'll continue the whole house hunting thing, but I want to wrap up this house hunting thing where we got 3 weeks to find the area we want to be.
Yes.
We got 3 weeks to decide on what's our budget. And the reason we have 3 weeks is because I want to move in around November 20th, even though we have this till November 30th. I want a 10-day window to give the moving company...
It's 3 weeks away?
Well, a month.
Okay.
Maybe a little more.
3 weeks?
Well, no, we have to go
out.
3 weeks to find where we're going to go.
Okay.
And then it's
Okay.
like, hey, then we've got to really serious in 10 days go lock a place down.
I got
But I
you.
want to sign a lease around like the 20th or 22nd so that we can have our stuff shipped here so that we give them a window so that we make sure we have a bed.
True.
And I also don't want to rush. I would love to just kind of have both places for just a week and get everything organized and then move in. So we'll keep you up to date on that journey, everyone. And then I did not intend this to happen, but I do want to give a little sneak peek at the end of this. I wanted to show a few little things of the house tour to give you a sneak peek, and then we'll show the full video on Sunday.
Amazing.
And we'll go from there. But I'm wishing everyone a happy and wonderful weekend, and we will see you back here on Monday. We appreciate you all so much, and we'll
Love
talk
you
to you
guys.
soon.
Mwah. All right, babe, you look really good behind the camera, by the way. All right, let's take a look, guys. How cute is this babe? I love it, I love it. Here we have this really dope guest house. We'll look there in just a minute. Oh my goodness, we love this spot. Here is the pool, and oh my gosh. This has been so great. You know, we came from an apartment in LA. We didn't really have much outdoor space in here. We've had such a great time in this pool. Okay, so now I want to show you this really cool part. Look at this. Isn't this so cool? You have this really cool little seating area. If you want to come out, bring a book, bring a little coffee or tea, sit outside, get a little shade. There are always butterflies around and hummingbirds, and you just see all this really cool natural